In this episode, I'm talking with Dr. Ruth Reinhart, Associate Vice Chancellor of Student Support Services at Austin Community College in Austin, Texas. In this episode, we discuss how ACC has built a proactive and holistic approach to student success using analytics and integrated student success case management tools for its over 35,000 students across 11 campuses. But before we dive in, take a moment to subscribe to the show to stay up to date on the latest and data-informed approaches to student success. Welcome to Next Practices, Ruth. I'm so happy you're here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to share our story from ACC and our work with Civitas Learning Platform and all that it's helped our students.
So I want to start by having you tell me about Austin Community College, how it serves its mission, and your role as part of that work.
Sure. So I serve as Associate Vice Chancellor of Student Support Services here at Austin Community College. We are a huge college. We have 11 campuses, and we joke around that we are the size of Connecticut. That is our service area. So we serve lots of students in our area. And the work that we do really propels student success. We really partner a lot with our community partners, our industry partners, to help students become successful in their different workspaces and really prepare them for the needs of our community.
I know ACC is, I think, one of the largest community colleges in the nation, or is it the largest?
We are not the largest, but we are one of the top. I think we're like in the top 10. Yeah, I think Dallas and Houston might be a little bit over us, but yeah, we're one of those.
Yeah, one of the really big ones. And I'm sure that I know because I live in Austin. I have the pleasure of living with Austin. So Austin Community College is my home community college and have worked with many students who have gone through the system and know that you serve a very broad, diverse cross-section of our city. And with that comes its own set of unique challenges. So I wonder, what are some of the biggest student success challenges that you and your team are seeing and working to solve?
So I think for us, while we do have a diverse student population and try to serve all those communities in our catchment area, I think the challenge we really are having, Katie, is really trying to capture those students who are first-generation students or who have never experienced college, our underrepresented population of students, African-American and Hispanic students or Latino students. Even though the Latinos are the majority in this country, they are still lagging in seeking educational opportunities. And we really are trying diligently to reach those students so they can prosper in this educational opportunity that we offer at ACC. And the other thing that we're doing that's new, we are offering free tuition starting in fall 2024. So we're really excited about that because we think that will really help with our mission of open access to all students. So we're really excited about that opportunity and really helping those communities come to ACC so they can really empower and change the trajectory of their lives and of our community.
I know that your institution has done a lot of work to help students who do enroll in ACC to be as successful as possible. And I want to spend a little bit of time there. If you mind sharing what your strategic vision is for the students who do come to your school as far as supporting them through their experience so that they can be successful and reach those goals.
So we have really focused our efforts on really being more strategic with our students that we are serving. Of course, we have over 70,000 students, so that is a lot of students that we have to kind of take care of. So we've done a couple of things. We have our success coaches who are really tied to our the coordinating board, cohort board, which are really that is what defines our graduation rate. So a couple of years ago, we were like at 7%. We are now like at 23% because we're just being more intentional with our efforts to ensure students are getting the advising they need and getting the support they need to be successful and to complete in 3 years. Now then we have all of our part-time students that are here, and that takes them about 6 to 7 years to complete. We're not forgetting about those students. So we are being more intentional with those students as well. We are really strategic in our efforts through the Civitas Learning Platform about student engagement and opportunities. We case manage all of our students now, so there are metrics that we have for our team members things that they have to do to ensure engagement with students. We do know that when students engage with their advisor, we do see an increase in persistence and completion. So we know that does work. So we are using those strategies. Not only my team, but also my colleagues' team in our accelerators, third learning labs. We keep all that data and we look and we see how students are doing. And we do notice and we see the data, and it does demonstrate that students who utilize those services do better and persist and complete. So those are all data points that we really use. We also, in the last year, we have implemented a Domo dashboard, which gives us live data for our advisors so they can see who they haven't seen. So that way they use our Civitas Learning Platform to reach out to those students. We will able to see who withdrew from classes and things of that nature. So just being really proactive in our efforts to ensure students are getting the support they need in real time.
What is your advising model? If you're doing case management system, I know at community college, there can be a wide range of advising models because you're serving such a high volume of students, but so many different kinds of college experiences, students who are taking courses just over the summer from students who are seeking a certification, to students who are looking to transfer to a four-year institution. How are you managing advising for the students? Are they required to see advisors? Do they have an assigned advisor?
Yeah. So every single student at ACC is assigned to someone. But so they are not required to see their advisor. However, we have KPIs that require our advisors to reach out to students. At least half of their caseload, they have to reach out to their student and do some pre-advising with them so they can send them the information regarding what they need to register for the next semester and things of that nature. We also, our instructional colleagues, have done some different strategic scheduling initiatives. So now a student can see the schedule for the next 3 years. So that way we can kind of plan with the student moving forward what their schedules will look like for the next 3 years, because we'll see all the schedule out. So that's something new that just got implemented actually in the spring. So we're really excited about that. So while we don't have mandatory advising, I think the efforts that we're doing with our KPIs is really driving for students to see their assigned advisor. And just like you mentioned, we are huge. And I think the thing that COVID taught us really is how can we support students where they are? So we can see students virtually. They don't have to come into the office. So we can see students wherever they are at the time that they need. We do, while they're not required, as I mentioned, we just want them to see somebody. So they're assigned to someone, but they can see anybody that is convenient for them. And so that seems to be working. And our advisors are thinking, oh, they're not really seeing the person they're supposed to be seeing. But the data does show in our Domo dashboard that actually 75% of our students are actually seeing their assigned advisor, which is good because it helps us to really develop a relationship with students so we can support them holistically and develop that relationship that is meaningful, and they'll come back and see their advisor. So that's really good. I think that those are kind of things that we've done. We do have a whole online team of advisors that are kind of our generalists who can answer just general questions for students, and they will help students that they support them on the weekends and in the evenings. So we're just trying to be there for students when students need us, because we know our students are not traditional students. They have 8 to 5 jobs. They have children and things of that nature. So we just are really just trying to meet the student where they are and really support them in that manner.
Are you using the Civitas learning capabilities and tools as part of that work? If you're not requiring students, the students that the advisors are reaching out to, are they able to prioritize that based on the data that they're seeing to understand who might be at more risk and who may benefit more from support versus those students might be better self-advocates or more self-sufficient, kind of navigate it on their own? They're able to prioritize their time to make sure that students who are a little higher risk may get more holistic or more proactive support. Is that how you're approaching it?
We do. So we do that because we use all the predictive scores in the Civitas Learning Platform to help us do that. So advisors can pay more attention to those students who might not be doing as well in their classes and things of that nature. We also launched Academic Alert about 2 years ago, and that has been really helpful with our faculty members in alerting us when there are issues in the classroom. It could be performance, it could be they're missing classes and things of that nature. So that has helped. I think the other thing that we have implemented is we do the college student inventory with all of our
Mhm.
students. It's optional, but it's not required. But what we find is we are able to provide students with the resources before school starts, so they have everything they need in place so they can be successful. If it's childcare, if it's food insecurities and things of that nature, we try to support them in that manner early on, so that doesn't become a barrier for them to retain and complete the semester.
Yeah. I know this from my conversations with partners and institutions across the country that shifting to this kind of model where you have a caseload, especially at community colleges, and you're managing that caseload based on need versus like who shows up at the door and raises their hand. Like you're still balancing who shows up at the door and raises their hand with the students who may not raise their hand and come in. That can be kind of tricky, especially for advisors who in the past may have felt like they're very busy because they have full calendars and full waiting rooms. But the students filling up those calendars and waiting rooms are always the students who actually need the most help. They're usually the students who are good self advocators. What can you walk me through how I'm assuming that in another time, ACC may have done things in a different way and that you over time have moved to this model, just being in my background, being in advising, because know that history of advising and this case management model hasn't always been the norm, especially at open access institutions. So how have y'all made that transition over time and shifted your culture to this approach?
So it's been about 5 years. So we started this shift. It was very transactional, and we really wanted it to be more relational with our students. So we really engaged in a lot of work with Inside Track with the coaching model, and that was our first step. I think Guided Pathways as well kind of put us on the trajectory of not making our advisors generalists and making them area of study advisors. So we have 10 areas of study, and so that becomes like their specialization. So all that work about 5 years ago really kind of started our trajectory to changing how we're doing advising. We used to have a walk-in model. I will say that when I started at ACC a long time ago, it was a walk-in model. And as you're talking about like waiting rooms that were full, lines out the door, we don't see that anymore because with this case management model, I think of the proactivity of engaging with students when they need us kind of cuts down that. We always have some students that come in and walk in, and that's okay. But we also, we get meaningful reports. We get reports of students who have withdrawn, the academic alert. We didn't have all those in place before. And while I think when you are doing this change management, people are pushing back because, oh my God, how am I going to manage this? And so it really has changed how we support students because we're doing it in a real time when they need us. And you're right, there's a lot of students who self-advocate for themselves. They know how to do all those things. And those aren't the ones that we're really worried about. We're really worried about those others who aren't doing as well. So I think by using the tools that we have, it really helps us. And the advisors are trained. You should be looking at this, at your data in your dashboard, in your Civitas, for all the ones assigned to you, and the ones that are not showing are low probability of being successful. Those are the ones you need to reach out. So we develop communication plans for them. So they already have the templates, and then they can kind of reach out to the student pretty quickly. We are launching as well texting, which we think is better than the email because I think sometimes students, they get inundated with emails. So we're just really trying to be where students are in terms of what technology is really going to connect with students. So I think that's important. I think the other thing as well is in the past, people have felt that student affairs or advising, it's always been their responsibility and nobody else's responsibility. And we have really partnered. We have our executive dean of advising has really partnered with our instructional colleagues, and they have they are really coming on board, wanting to do more for students. So we have more faculty advising happening now, which is great. they're in the Civitas learning platform. They're getting training on how to use that. So that way, when they go in, they see a holistic picture of the student. Because we always tell them, you have the student more than we do, right? We don't require mandatory advising. So anything you can provide for us is more helpful for us to be proactive with the student. And I think it's really important for us to develop those relationships with our instructional colleagues, because we have to work together in order to make this journey for our students successful. And so I just think over the last 5 to 6 years, we've really shifted from being very transactional to relational. And that has really made an impact on our completions and students persisting in completing. So I think it's been a journey, and it hasn't gone without its bumps and without its, people pushing back. But I think in the long run, people who have been here for a long time have really seen the shift in our student behavior, because our waiting rooms are not the way they used to be like 18 years ago, where there was lines out the door. That doesn't exist anymore, just because we're being more proactive and providing more holistic advising support.
It's really remarkable how holistic advising or proactive advising and being able to just have a caseload management model can so reduce those kinds of lines and wait lists. I mean, I've been in situations in my previous life as an advisor, where I was an advisor at the University of Houston downtown, which is an open access institution, where we essentially had it was like almost, I hate to say this, but being at the DMV, where we had a lobby full of people and we had a monitor and your number came up and you went to a cubicle and you saw an advisor, and we really only had time to help with scheduling advice. We weren't able to provide holistic support. And so I've been there with a lobby full of students who just need to get their question answered. And I think it's just amazing and remarkable that you could create ease workload, create efficiency, and sort of even provide a better experience for students, quite frankly, just by having that shift in how services are delivered. Quite remarkable.
Yeah, it's not perfect still, right? We still have lots of work to do, but I think overall for student experience, it's much better than what it used to be. And I think the advisors, new advisors don't know any better. I hate to say it, but those of us who've been here forever, we really do see the difference in terms of customer service. And actually we see lower advising errors and things of that nature, because you're in a specialization and you know exactly your area of study, and you can be able to support that student. So I think that, case management, when we introduced it, people were like, oh my God, if you're going to, I think people feel you're micromanaging, because we can see their Domo dashboards. We can see who they've seen, who they haven't seen, who have they might reached out to. And it's not about micromanaging. It's really about accountability and what we owe the student, because we want them to be successful. And so it is our responsibility as an institution to provide that service for a student. So I just think the holistic, the coaching, all that has really made a difference for us as an institution.
You mentioned two things that I want to dig a little bit deeper into. One is that you have some faculty doing this work, and the other is, of course, the outcomes that you're seeing. But I want to start with faculty. I recently went to our Texas Leadership Institute in San Antonio with our partners, and you had some representatives there. There were representatives from all over Texas and even outside of Texas, as well as just my conversations I've had with guests on the podcast, and how to get faculty on board with using, submitting alerts that are high quality and not just passing the buck to an advisor, getting faculty to do proactive outreach, getting faculty to take notes, getting faculty to use a platform, a student success management platform at all, is, I know, tricky sticking point, and a lot of institutions in a place where a lot of people are looking for advice and looking for tactics and tricks to make that happen. Can you share what that looks like and how you introduce it to faculty and how you're getting faculty to participate in this work?
Yeah. And so I think the important thing for us as an institution, we, from the onset, we found some partners in instruction who wanted to be part of this work. And we asked them, what do you want the alerts to be like? Right? We didn't want to dictate that for them. So I think just having a conversation with them and saying, help us build what will help you all in the classroom. What are you seeing? You're the experts in the classroom. what would be beneficial? What alerts would you want us to help you with? And so they actually, our instructional colleagues actually built out the academic alert. And so I think because we did that, they really bought into it and they really helped their colleagues understand the importance of it. Now, we don't have 100% participation in it. We don't. I mean, that's just the honest truth. But I think by having the instruction take the lead on it and us supporting them, kind of being the supporting role people, really made a difference. And so we have some really good power users and with that. So that would be my recommendation, is just having them lead that work. What is going to help them in the classroom is it's practical, and it makes them feel empowered, and that we are partnering with them. We're not telling you what to do. We want you to tell us what's going to help you. And I think that really made a difference for us. I really do. And then I think just reminding them of the academic alert. We do our OIRA does do reporting for us regarding who's using it, who's not using it, and then how do department chairs, giving that to the department chairs, and then how do you encourage your instructional colleagues in your areas to use this? And so we do ongoing training on academic alert. We partner with our teaching and learning division regarding, developing videos, however we needed to do that to help them. So I think it's just a lot of partnerships, and I think that's unusual for us with instruction and student affairs. And I think that has been really helpful for us. And we just kind of keep doing it. And just so you'll know, with this free tuition, we needed to focus on 3 items for the student journey. And that is one of them, is how do we enhance our academic alert system so more faculty are using it. So like I said, we still have a lot of work to do. And I think by how do we enhance what we have to help better support students. So that's one of the goals that we're going to have for 2024, is really having more faculty use that. So it's a work in progress, but I think just partnering with them, helping develop it, was really critical for us at this institution.
And do you have faculty who are in there beyond academic alerts? Do you have faculty who are using it in advising capacities, or that are using it in like adding notes or looking at proactive outreach, or using it to pull any kind of other reporting or data?
And so they really are interested, and we do have a lot who go in there and put notes in there. Now that they really understand the system and what it can do, they can kind of get a holistic picture of their students. So they do go through training. It's a 90-minute training that we've developed internally through our work with Civitas. And so we have 2 trainers. That's all they do, is train faculty and student affairs folks on how to use the system and gain them access and things of that nature. So it just really shows partnership and helping them understand the tools that we use on our side of the house and how it helps support them in their work with their students in the classroom.
Yeah, I've got to imagine that. I know that this is always a challenge for faculty, but at the end of the day, these kinds of interfaces and practices, it helps them. It helps students be successful in their classes. So there's a benefit in it for them. There's something in it for them at the end of the day.
Yeah, there is. And I think little by little, they're understanding that, Katie, and it's just taken a while. I think it's just a shift in culture. And, I think it's going to get better, but I believe it's just been our relationship and working with them and showing them the benefits of this platform and how it can help them is really, it's funny. And it's the thing is, like, I was on a call today this morning, and somebody was saying that they use their phone to text. And I'm like, okay, you shouldn't be using your phone to text. We do have a platform that allows you to text you and access. We can give you access and give you training. And they're like, oh my God, really? And so there's a lot, because we are a huge institution and communication is always a challenge for us. But I think once you alert them of some capabilities, they are open to learn, because it actually helps them. And so you are correct. They really do see the benefit of really leaning on us for advice and how to use a platform and how can I get better to support my students in my classroom. So it's just a change in culture, and it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And we are just glad that we are doing that more and more.
Yeah, yeah. You also mentioned that you're seeing a lot of positive outcomes because of the shift and the work that you're doing. And I know we talk outcomes can be really broad. We love to hear improved persistence and retention and completion, graduation rates, but those are the holy grail, if you will, of student success work. But I also think that, workload efficiencies and better coordination and communication can be really important outcomes as well. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about the kind of outcomes that you're seeing, both big and small?
So yes, we are seeing more efficiencies in our workloads. I think one of the things our partners who are in advising have said we have too many things we have too many platforms, right? And so by using Civitas Learning Platform and kind of condensing it into one, it makes it a little bit easier for them. So they can, they can text, they can email from the platform, and they can even send mass emails to them. And we do use another platform to do strategic interventions with students and things of that nature. So it helps in that capacity because they don't feel like they have to do one at a time, and it gets all kind of documented in the Civitas Learning Platform. So it does help with that kind of thing. And then the other thing is in terms of persistence, we have seen an increase in persistence in terms of persistence from fall to spring and summer, from fall to fall and fall to spring. And I think it's only because we do those communications in we do like a mass email to them, right? And so then we can kind of even dig down deep into the data and say, okay, of everybody that I sent on my case or that I sent this notification to, these people have already signed appointments with me. These people have already registered. So we dig down deep into that. So we use Domo. So we are able to really pull down who has registered, who has not registered, who have you contacted, who have you not contacted. And so we can prioritize in that way. And it has become more efficient because before we were kind of guessing who and what was coming and who, and things of that nature. So this really helps them to really focus on who they need to be focusing on. And everything is documented in one platform. And so I just feel like for our teams, it has been a little daunting that while it might feel like we're being big brotherish, but it really provides them the information they need to be excellent at their job and to be more efficient. And we have seen better outcomes for our students, but even for staff, we really have. They appreciate that we got rid of a calendar and now we use the calendar within Civitas Learning Platform. That's one less thing. And so they just appreciate, we hear them, we hear their concerns, and we really want to streamline their work so it doesn't seem so cumbersome. So we're really trying to work on just streamlining all those things. And I will say that I was talking about the strategic schedule. So in the past, we used to just roll over our schedule. It didn't matter. But now we use data to inform where we should be building our schedule and where we need classes. So we're just being we have a lot of data. We're really using it in a strategic manner. So we're doing that. That's a little bit better. And we're even thinking about enabling the scheduler, because we talked about it. But it's again, that communication with instruction. We told them about scheduler and we told the committee about this platform within Civitas Learning Platform. And they're like, and we have a demo. So we joined a demo with them and they were really excited about it and they want it to be part of their work group and moving forward. But it's just having that engagement with instruction and having them be part of that conversation and understanding how this, again, tool will help build their schedule, what the goals are. And it'll help students to develop their schedules and things of that nature, of course, and really work around our students' schedules who are chaotic because they're work, children, everything else that they have in their lives. And so they see the value of it. So I think it's just a lot of those things that we know these tools really help students persist and not say, I can't do this, because we are really trying to be really efficient with our time and we respect students' times and things of that nature. So I think all those together really have made a difference for us.
Do you know over the trajectory of the work that you've been doing to help students in this more proactive way? I know that there's been dips because there's been shifts and anomalies because of COVID, but do you have sort of like a trajectory in your retention that you're seeing that you're able to point to yet? Or is that still something that you're kind of looking more micro, like, semester persistence is improving?
We're seeing it up semester per semester that it's improving. I think, but the challenge, and I'm sure many institutions are seeing this, is students that went through high school during COVID are really struggling, and just because they look the way they were learning. And so we're just really trying to see how we can help those students be more successful. And I know a lot of institutions are struggling with that as well. So hopefully, we're just really looking at semester by semester. And then, of course, we'll see what comes up if we get this free tuition, where that helps us in terms of our enrollment. But I think for us in Texas, I'm sure a lot of schools, with all the changes in the funding, it's not about it's not about the entering, it's about the completions and things. So we're really focusing on the micro credentials, just stackable credentials, those kinds of things to kind of get students the skills they need to get a better paying job. And it's hard, right? Because right now we're hearing all those things about, is higher ed really worth it? And so I think this is another reason why we really want to do this free tuition, is to really help students understand that your education is something that'll go with you for longer. Right now, I mean, because you could go somewhere and make $22 an hour, right? And it's that instant gratification that I think a lot of our students are seeing, but we have to really show them the value of their education over their lifetime. And so just how do we teach them that the value of education and how it can really change the trajectory of your life?
Yeah, you read my mind. I was going to ask you how House Bill 8 was impacting your work, but you started to share that that's a shift in Texas's funding model. Then for community colleges, that the funding is based on completion. Do you mind just talking a little bit more about how you're thinking about that? I know it's early and a lot of institutions are still trying to kind of sort through that, but how are y'all thinking about that this time?
So we really are looking at even being strategic with that in terms of, I mean, our graduating cohort is always important. But even for all those students who come part-time and things of that nature, we are looking at the high wage certificates. And so really one strategy we're looking at now already, we're starting to look at that, is those students who are seeking a degree within those programs, can we award them a certificate first? So that'll count towards a completion for us. So looking at that is one strategy for us. So we have, and then what kind of outreaches will we do to those students? And so just being really strategic in how we help students attain certificates along the way before they get their degree. Not saying that the degree isn't important, but they can earn a credential because life happens along the way. And so if they have something they've completed, they at least have a credential that'll help them along the way, and it'll help the institution as well. I think the other thing too is we do have really great transfer rates. And one thing that we do struggle with at ACC is reverse transfer. And so just being really more proactive with reverse transfers and things of that nature to help us to help with our completions, to increase our completions. But we don't have an automated way because we have to work with our four-year institutions, our partners, and that's sometimes a challenge. And so, and even for students, like how do we educate students about reverse transfer? What does that mean? And they don't understand that and things of that nature. So I think we just have, it's a lot of education on our part to students. And so we're trying to do a little bit more work in that space. We're happy you're transferring, but can you kind of, because we know they're somewhere else. And so just kind of developing a strategy of reaching out to those students who have left and letting them know, can you send us back your transcript so we can award you your associate's degree or your certificate. And so we're just trying to be really more strategic with those efforts to help along that way.
Yeah. It's tricky, and I'm sure a lot of folks are still trying to think through which way that they can support students and can play, but that makes a lot of sense to have sort of a multi-pronged approach to this, because you have students that are doing so many different things that are entering your institution for so many different reasons, and often don't even know what, they're still trying to figure out what they want. Yeah.
Well, they don't understand our language in higher ed, right? We higher ed everything, and they don't understand. They come in. I mean, I know you shared you were a first generation student, and so am I. And so how do they navigate all that? That's all new to them. It's a whole new language. They don't understand it. So I think as their partners, we have to do a better job at educating them on what that means, because they don't know the questions to ask. So it's our responsibility to help them guide through all that, all our education bureaucracy. So I just think we have a lot to do to get better to do that to support students.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have covered a lot of ground and I'm very thankful for your time, but I want to give you an opportunity if there's anything that I should have asked you or any other lessons learned that you'd like to share with leaders in similar situations. I want to give you space to share that.
Yeah. I think I think for us, I think it's just like I shared before, it's really about um that partnership with construction has been really, really important to us. I think our relationship with OIRA is really important to us. They are the ones that really help us with caseload assignments, and because those are not easy to do when you're as an institution as large as us, and we have different sessions. We have an 8-week session, we have a 12-week session, we have a 14-week session, we have 16-week sessions, and so we're always assigning students. So that is a big job. And so, if you really want to go to a caseload management, you have to really have protocols on how those assignments will be done and things of that nature. But it's really we do it in collaboration with our OIRA folks, and that's really important. That has made it really successful. We really try to make, and we always have to shift. I say you just have to be willing to be flexible because you could have, we could have a model right this moment of how we're going to do assignments, and then we have to kind of come back to the table and say, okay, caseloads are really high in this AOS. How can we adjust? So I think just being flexible, that you're going to have to come back and you're going to have to readjust how you do those assignments sometimes because it's not a perfect science. And I think if you just have to be open-minded that you're going to have to do that if your numbers increase in one area of study, because we've had to do that every semester, we have to come back and say, okay, are we going to do this? And so I just think being honest with your colleagues and letting them know that this is the why, because we want to be equitable to our advisors because we don't want them to have caseloads that are 500. They have really reasonable caseloads now because we have about 95 advisors, success coaches that do this work. And, but we just know that we have to come back sometimes and we have to have some shifts in how we do assignments just because of the loads. And and so just that partnership with OIRA and things of that nature. And then even partnerships with instruction. Instruction is really in terms of, we want to advise our students. We don't want y'all to advise them. And just being respectful of that is good. That's good. If you want to advise your students, go ahead. We're okay with that. And I think it's just having them knowing who to contact when they want to do that and make that shift is important as well.
It's OIRA, your institutional research office.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, but they are.
That's okay. Yeah. And I think what you're saying is really important. Partnership, it takes a village. Student success takes a village. And so working together and collaborating, coordinating student success across the institution and moving beyond student success being the business of academic affairs or advising is really critical point that you raise and something that we're seeing more and more across our partner institutions.
Yeah. Yep. It's fun. I love my job. I do this because I was a first generation student and I had to navigate all this by myself. And so that's why I'm so passionate about the work that we do for our students, and just seeing students graduate is amazing. How we can change their lives. And so that's why I do what I do. And my team is totally committed to this work, even though it's challenging sometimes. They know in the long run, we're making a difference for our students.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that. That's the same reason I got into it. Ruth, thank you so much for coming on Next Practices. I'm so glad to have you on the show.
Thanks, Katie. Have a great day. I appreciate it.